A never-before-seen halftime is coming to Faurot Field tomorrow night.
And a big boost and an expansion for a local program to help kids in foster care.
Plus, a prison program helps teach puppies and their trainers new skills. This is KOMU 8 News at 6.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Well, with Mizzou's first home football game of the 2024 season just over 24 hours away, it's an exciting time to be in Columbia right now. Good evening, everyone. I'm Evie Allen.
And I'm Taylor Freeman. Thank you so much for joining us. It's sounding like there could be a chance for possible rain ahead of tomorrow's game. We got to check in with our chief meteorologist, Matt Beckwith. He has more on this ever-changing situation. So, Matt, what can the fans expect that are attending the game? Should they bring a poncho just in case?
I think for the most part, we're going to be good. I'm always a fan.
You couldn't buy an American flag in this town because everybody was buying them and putting them up. Everybody showed that they were proud of being Americans.
A day of remembering across Missouri, honoring those who lost their lives 23 years ago today.
Humidity a little bit higher today. Cloud cover starting to move in. We'll talk about Francine and how it's going to impact our weather in my first alert forecast.
The Teen Connection Project is something that will best meet the needs of our local teens.
And a new Columbia Public School program designed to keep students in school. This is KOMU 8 News at 6.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Gas prices across the country are going down, and it's no different here in mid-Missouri. Here's what's causing the drop in prices.
She's here. Francine's rolling closer to us, but it's not going to do much. We've got cloud cover, a few showers, but again, we're not looking at much. We'll explain what you can expect for the full weekend ahead in my first alert forecast.
It's National Construction Suicide Awareness Week, and one Missouri union is hoping to make a difference with their employees. This is KOMU 8 News at 10.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Here's what's happening right now. We're following a developing situation outside Boone Hospital in Columbia. There are several emergency responders outside the hospital now. Our crew shot this video a few minutes ago. We're working to find out more information, and we'll bring you details on air and online at KOMU.com.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
A Moberly daycare owner who is facing multiple charges of child abuse turned herself into authorities today. Good evening, everyone. I'm Taylor Freeman.
And I'm Evie Allen. Thanks so much for joining us. KOMU 8's Royce Griffin talked to the prosecutor on the case. So Royce joins us now with some background on what led to her arrest. Royce.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
This was definitely a curveball on our very first day of school this year.
A suspect on the loose after a high-speed pursuit yesterday has closed schools in Osage County today. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Taylor Freeman.
And I'm Evie Allen. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, students and teachers in the Osage R2 district were kept home today because of a search for a fugitive.
Well, coming up, travelers going through the Columbia Airport won't have to pack a snack anymore.
And the MU Law School is hosting an event calling for the exoneration of death row inmate Marcellus Williams. We'll have a live report.
And we saw temperatures reaching about 89 degrees, 10 degrees above average for this time of year. Fall is coming up, but summer temperatures aren't going away. I'll have the details coming up.
After the break, the newest development in the search for a missing Arizona woman swept away by floodwaters. Plus, the latest storm in what has been a busy hurricane season. Here are the dangerous conditions that made their way through Hawaii today.
Protesters lined the streets of Tel Aviv after the break. See the shocking video of the clash between protesters and police in Israel. A Missouri veteran got a special gift from a Missouri organization. Hear about the heartwarming story behind this special day. Employees of top hotel chains are heading to the picket lines. Hear what change they are fighting for after the break.
After the break, what a new school is bringing to the learning environment in Columbia. And the U.S. is sending another aid package to Ukraine. Hear what is included when we come back.
A Missouri death row inmate avoids the death penalty. Hear what led to today's overturn and what comes next.
And a school bus crashed into a Memphis apartment building early this morning. What happened and an update on the people involved.
You couldn't buy an American flag in this town because everybody was buying them and putting them up. Everybody showed that they were proud of being Americans.
A day of remembering across Missouri, honoring those who lost their lives 23 years ago today.
Humidity a little bit higher today. Cloud cover starting to move in. We'll talk about Francine and how it's going to impact our weather in my first alert forecast.
The Teen Connection Project is something that will best meet the needs of our local teens.
And a new Columbia Public School program designed to keep students in school. This is KOMU 8 News at 6.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Well, 23 years later, Americans are remembering 9/11. Good evening, everyone. I'm Taylor Freeman.
And I'm Evie Allen. Thanks so much for joining us. Here in mid-Missouri, ceremonies were held to remember, but also to honor the first responders who put their lives on the line every day to protect others.
KOMU 8's Taylor Brooks spoke to one responder who was at Ground Zero. Taylor.
I attended 2 local memorial services today and saw how the community came together to honor the lives that were lost on September 11th. I spoke to one mid-Missouri first responder who deployed to New York the day after the attacks.
Going to work the next day on September 12th, rolling across the Brooklyn Bridge at noon and seeing the smoke and flames, and so just remembering.
Reminding us why so many pay their respects every September 11th.
We're going through collapsed structures, we're going in, we're helping move deceased firefighters and police officers and civilians.
Nearly 3,000 Americans were killed on 9/11. It is a day to honor them.
A Remembrance Day, Patriot Day. Today we reflect back on the attack on America.
Boone County and MU both hosted a memorial for those who have served and are still serving our nation.
The wreath ceremony is a representation of all of those who have served. Our fire marshals, our Task Force 1, our police officers, all of those who put themselves on the line on a daily basis.
It's an opportunity to appreciate our first responders that are working hard every day, and we give this day and these people the respect and acknowledgement that they deserve.
But through these gatherings, it reminds us how America came together in the most difficult of times.
It's the 62 flags that were our headquarters when we came in, and the thousands of people waving American flags and holding up signs, just thanking us for our jobs.
Leak also says he hopes days like today remind citizens to come together in times of need. In the studio, Taylor Brooks, KOMU 8 News.
Today, we're remembering all those who lost their lives on 9/11. You just witnessed some sights and sounds from a 9/11 memorial ceremony in Overland Park, Kansas. And the College of the Ozarks hosted its annual September 11th commemoration. The event teaches students about the day of the attacks. The college's goal is to pass the history down, especially as most undergraduate students were not born yet during the tragedy.
We have a lot going on satellite right now. First, hazy skies in place from wildfire smoke out in the west. You can see that mainly across northern parts of the state, that thin kind of milky layer. Then from the south, we've got clouds moving in, and these clouds are on the northern extent of the moisture associated with Hurricane Francine, which made landfall just about an hour ago in southern Louisiana. So this cloud cover is coming our way. Rain chances looking a little bit lower for us. I do think we'll see some isolated to scattered showers on Friday, but it doesn't look like it's going to add up to much, and I think that should exit pretty quickly heading into the weekend. Right now, though, the big story is the cloud cover that's building through the night. We're at 75 degrees, 62 tomorrow, sun at times as we start our day. Then by the afternoon, we should be in the middle 80s with a mostly cloudy sky expected across the region. We'll talk about the cloud cover that builds through the end of our week and slowly warming temperatures again in my first alert forecast.
All right, thanks, Matt. The Police Review Board is meeting right now to discuss new trainings and next steps after the City Council made changes in the board's purview last week. The City Council has limited the powers of the board. The board's no longer able to solicit public input and cannot audit police records. One Citizen Police Review Board member says with the restrictions, civilian oversight of the Columbia Police Department no longer exists in a meaningful way. He also says he's troubled because for the board to hear a complaint, it depends on how severe it is.
Position where they can't hear complaints without having to up the level of severity of the complaint is very troubling, and troubling in terms of our relationship with the police, but also troubling in terms of how much can we possibly help the citizens.
The meeting is for the Police Review Board to discuss logistics going forward and understand their new role moving forward.
After Governor Mike Parson vetoed more than $1 billion from the state budget, lawmakers had a chance to reverse what he did today, but they did not override a single veto. Of the 12 major budget bills the governor made cuts to, lawmakers only voted on one today. Governor Parson cut more than $12 million in funding to the Department of Health and Senior Services Federal Stimulus 2021 Fund, but the House failed to get enough votes needed to override it, so those cuts will stay.
We have the ability to tell him how important we feel this line item is for serving our seniors. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I'll ask for a roll call vote and hopefully be supported by 5 or more of my members, Mr. Speaker. And with that, I renew my motion.
Because the House didn't override any of the vetoes, the session ended before the Senate could consider them.
Police are investigating a road rage incident on Interstate 70 this morning. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says the incident happened around 8:15 in St. Charles. Officials say the driver was heading west when someone inside a black Dodge SUV fired shots at their car. The police report states the car was struck twice, but the victim didn't suffer any injuries. Seeing students walk across the stage at graduation gives students and teachers a sense of accomplishment. After the break, hear what new program is coming to CPS to help increase the students walking at graduation.
And consumers got some good news today. After the break, hear about this new low and what it means for the economy.
And we're seeing 80s across the region right now. It's almost hard to believe we're in the 80s, but this is what it feels like when you have lower humidity. We'll talk about the humidity and rain chances, plus when these 80s leave the forecast temporarily, coming up.